There's some genuine issues with this policy. How do we make money in Australia if all of a sudden we are now being forced to pay this extra tax?
The $3 million super tax. There are two big issues that are genuinely a problem. One is that there's no planned indexing, that it relies on government to make actual policy. And two, all federal politicians are exempt from this.
And three, it's the tax on the unrealised gains. So this is the problem that I have. The government provided this, and now everyone in Australia gets punished, but the members of the federal parliament or those in the army. So it's either, hey, go be part of our defence force, or get into politics so you can become a part of tax avoidance. With an implementation of a new tax, people can't prepare themselves for this new tax to come in place. Hey, how am I supposed to pay that? Do I get a director's penalty notice sent to me by the ATO? Superannuation was created for retirement purposes. Why are we punishing people for preparing for retirement?
Welcome to the Finance Show with Joe. He's Joe, I'm Michael, and today we're talking about the $3 million super scandal. I'm not going to assume that everyone knows what the hell this is, so let me just run down some facts and figures. Facts and figures time with Michael.
New segment.
My favorite segment, facts and figures. Okay, so the $3 million super tax. So those with $3 million in their super will be taxed 30% on that figure. Now, that is up from an already 15% tax. So this will directly impact 0.5% of individuals in Australia. That equates to about 80,000 people. So wealthy families of at least $50 million in net wealth, of this 0.5%, 85% are over the age of 60. Now, put things into perspective. The average super balances for men and women between 60 and 64 right now is $402,000 and $318,000 respectively. Now, there is some controversy with this. One, obviously, because it's a tax. People don't like paying more tax. That's a given. But the big one, the big two, in my opinion, and I do think this is an issue, because generally speaking, I just to get the biases out of the way, I generally think this is fine, and I think it's being overblown, but there are two big issues that are genuinely a problem. One is that there's no planned indexing of this. That could be a problem. It makes the assumption that it relies on a government to make actual policy in some over the next 10 years or whatever the hell it is, that actually changes it. And two is that all federal politicians are exempt from this.
And three, it's the tax on the unrealised gains.
Oh, yes. It's on paper gains, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So those are some actual question marks that need to be talked about, which we'll get into.
Okay. This is going to be an episode that's heavily geared towards my disdain for this new policy. And it is not because I don't agree with, all policies and everything's wrong and, burn. There's some genuine issues with this policy. And I'm going to start with the first, the tax on the unrealised gains. Mm-hmm. Okay. You are taxing people on profits that haven't eventuated. How that tax is administered or how that tax is accounted for. Are you being taxed from your superannuation? As in, the money that goes into your superannuation regularly, is the tax supposed to be paid from that account, or is the tax going to be paid from your personal accounts? Okay. I don't know what I don't know. I'm not an accountant.
Yeah.
Okay. Nor has this policy been released.
No, this is not law. So,
for example, let's say Michael has his superannuation and Michael made a lot of money, okay? And he's got, $4 million in his superannuation. It grew from $3 million to $4 million in 1 year because he bought some land somewhere that got subdivided and now all of a sudden he's made X amount of cash.
Man, that'd be sweet. No, continue, sorry.
When a tax bill is sent out, do you have to pay 30% tax from your personal name, or is it coming from the superannuation balance?
From what I understand, it's from your self-managed super fund, and it's only on every dollar above $3 million.
Okay, so between that $3 and $4 million, there's still $1 million of gain, and that means 30% tax. That is going to be $300,000. Yet again, is it billed to you or is it billed to the super fund? Who is it billed to? So without clarification of where this money is going to be coming from? Like, who is actually responsible for this
yeah.
money? Is it the self-managed super fund itself, or is it Michael Lozner, the guarantor? Whoever it is, there still has to be $300,000 put aside. Okay. Now, not every gain is going to be $300,000. Not every single person is going to be responsible for that amount of money. And yes, I do agree with you. There are levels to this that are overblown.
Yeah.
However, without clarification and with an implementation of a new tax, people can't prepare themselves for this new tax to come in place.
Yeah.
So if, for example, I don't have that excess surplus of cash in my superannuation, okay, and that's where the tax is coming from, and my super is hit with, you now owe us $100,000, $250,000. My superannuation behaves as a fund that, is focuses on asset and producing growth. If it makes $1 million and now I'm hit with this bill, okay, how am I supposed to pay that? Do I get a director's penalty notice sent to me by the ATO?
I mean, with the assumption, if you've got $3 million in your super account, I'm pretty sure you can afford 300,000.
It's not $3 million in cash. It's the valuation of a property. So it's the value of the super. It's not the actual cash that's in it. It's not the cash balance.
Yeah.
So this is the problem that I have. How do we make money in Australia if, all of a sudden we are now being forced to pay this extra tax? Now, I know it's not a 0 to 30% increase. It's a 15 to 30% increase. So it's an extra 15%.
Yeah.
You do have to have that money set aside for tax. But what if in previous years you got your loan based upon the 15% tax rate? Now you are personally and fiscally responsible for the gains that are made in there. Last point before I go into that. Okay, so the tax on unrealized gains. Nobody has a crystal ball and nobody knows how much their property is going to be valued the next day.
Yes.
If there are sudden spikes and you are not cash prepared, this can, in essence, fuck you. That, not going to excuse my French there, but it can, because of the director's penalty notices and all the other things that come with tax avoidance. But you're going to see a lot more fraud.
Yeah.
You're going to see people fudging the numbers and try and decrease their profit margins, or they're going to try and decrease the value of their properties, on paper, so that they don't have to pay the tax.
Yeah. So the argument has been that the people, because these high net worth individuals, they've already, again, like I said, high net worth, they've already got a lot of money. So they've already made their money. So it's not about, trying to make money, but they're using super as a way to avoid paying certain amounts of tax.
But superannuation was created for retirement purposes. Why are we punishing people for preparing for retirement?
You're not punishing people. These people are already loaded. This is not you and I. This is not the average Australian.
I know where you're coming from, but this might be someone that decided, I'm going to put more money into my superannuation. They had to think strategically. These weren't individuals that were, we're just going to go dump money here. They thought strategically throughout the years, and they implemented a system that the government provided. And this is where my issue is, and it comes to point two. The government provided this, and now everyone in Australia gets punished, but the federal the members of the federal parliament or those in the army. So it's either, hey, go be part of our defense force, or get into politics so you can become a part of tax avoidance.
Yeah.
So if Anthony Albanese, and I am calling out the Prime Minister, thought this was a fair policy to anyone that had previously done this, why is he holding himself? Why is he exempt? Why are all the members of that party exempt? Also, we do have the people of the Liberal government, but why do we have all these individuals now exempt, to pay that extra 15% because of a job that they hold?
Oh yeah, no, but this has been the case with politicians for time immemorial. It's always rules for thee, not for me, and that's doesn't literally. It's just how it's always been, which is shit, and we should hold them accountable, and we should be mad about that. I said, I think this is a nuanced subject, because what I dislike about the conversation around this is there's a lot of stuff in the media complaining. It's like, this is going to hurt average Australians. It's not. What you can be mad about is what you said, the exemptions, the clarity of where does this bill come from. Those are things to actually be upset about. But to frame it as average Australians are going to be affected by this, I think is just straight up disingenuous.
I'm going to agree with you to a point, and the point is they haven't indexed it.
Yeah, this goes to like a probability thing, right? Because obviously, Labour won in the landslide recently, so it generally means that they'll probably be empowered. Like it'll be like a Howard government where we'll go for a bit, or whatever, and let's say the Liberal Party will make a comeback in late 2020s, early 2030s. At that point, an indexation change will be introduced, very likely. However, it's not guaranteed, is it? That's the thing. If it's not already in law now that it will be indexed, who's to say that there's no guarantee that it will be. Mm-hmm. So, again, question marks. It leaves you at the behest of the government. Will they change this? But even so, these, like I said, average people have about 400,000 to 300,000 in their super. Very clearly not anywhere near the $3 million threshold. There's been arguments that it's like, but with inflation and wage increase, we know for a fact that wages have not increased with inflation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very unlikely that people saying, Gen Z is going to suffer from this because they're the ones that are going to cop it later. But it's, in what world are they going to get $3 million even with inflationary measures, inflationary impacts and stagnant wage growth? How are they going to get to the $3 million if they don't already have this money? If they're already a high net worth individual? Basically what I'm saying is I think this whole thing's overblown.
I'm going to rebuttal.
Go for it. That's the point.
So you are saying that it's overblown. I won't disagree. Okay? It's already 15%. It's going up to 30%. I'm not going to disagree with you because people already pay tax from their self-ownership fund. Yeah. What I don't like is when Liberal came out with their housing policy, one of their policies were...
the super thing.
Yeah. We will allow first home buyers to have access to $50,000 from their superannuation. First home buyers, $50,000. Remember those two numbers, okay? To have access to the $50,000 from their superannuation to be able to purchase a property. Mm-hmm. People were up in arms about the fact the Liberal government wanted to touch their retirement fund. How dare they try and get people to access their super? Oh my God, that's a horrible thing to do. That's people's retirement money. So since 2020, and I posted a video about this the other day, cash has decreased in value significantly.
Inflation, yeah.
Because of inflation. $50,000 in 2020, if you had $50,000 in the bank account, in today's money, it's worth about $41,000 or something like that. That's because of the rate of inflation.
Yeah. These are just roundabout numbers.
These are roundabout numbers, right? Property has increased by 20% or more across the country in that time. I think it's 28%, the national average since 2020 to now, including inflation. Mm-hmm. So Liberal were giving people access.
Yeah, that was the plan, yeah.
First home buyers. This is my issue. First home buyers. The Gen Z that are complaining about this now, they were going to give them access to say, hey guys, this is going to be a stepping stone for you to be able to get into the market. Also, superannuation is your money. You should be able to do what you want with it. We are giving you the opportunity to be able to purchase something because we know there's a restricted supply in housing.
Yeah.
Here you go. No. There were people kicking up a storm about, we're touching people's retirement funds and everything.
Yeah.
Yet again, rules for thee, not for me. So why are we kicking up a storm or why are we angry about the fact that we were going to be given an opportunity to purchase our first homes, yet we're not as angry about individuals who have built their wealth through superannuation, who are planning to retire? We're not getting angry about them losing up to 15% of their income because of this new tax that's implemented. And why are we not holding the government officials accountable?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that the big reason is why people aren't angry is, like, say, you're accessing $50,000 for the deposit. Which, by the way, I wasn't really against this policy either.
I know you won't.
Yeah. I think the difference is the scale, right? For a younger person, let's say a 30-year-old, they've got, I don't know, 100,000 in their super. I don't think that's the number, but let's just say, for example, they've got 100,000 and then they're accessing $50,000. That's a lot more money than someone with the $3 million in super taking out 50,000, which obviously they can't do because they've already built their wealth and things like that. It's the perspective of how much it's relative, right? People aren't mad that these already millionaires are losing a couple $100,000 because, relatively speaking, drop in the bucket for them. They are mad as when lower socioeconomic peoples are being forced to use their retirement funds, where $50,000 will make more of a difference. Again, I don't know with inflation and stuff how much that's going to be worth in time, but regardless, it is worth a lot more to these people than someone with $3 million in super. And also, I think a lot of it is this with super. Again, the $3 million accounts, not the average person. Is they've already gotten to that point because they've already got a lot of money. They wouldn't even necessarily need. Granted, it's probably not liquid money. I understand that. But frankly, if you need money for retirement and you own 20 investment properties, fucking just sell one.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, how much more do you need?
All great points. They're all great points. And, raising the taxes there. Okay, that's an avenue. That's an avenue you can take. So why did the Labor government excuse themselves from the tax?
Yeah, that's the dodgy part.
Yeah.
No, I'm in full agreement with that. I don't like that part either.
Why would they come in and say, oh, no, but we're excused? Why is, why is Anthony Albanese allowed to keep his extra 15%?
Yeah.
Because he applied for a job? Because he lobbied himself to get into the Labor Party?
Yeah, it's all the politicians as well, because they've all got their investment properties. They've all got really big salaries as well. For what? And a lot of people would make the argument, what are they even doing?
Exactly. Well, there's that.
Yeah.
There's the wage increase that they all received. I think they all received a 9% wage increase. There's the fact that they get to fly around the country private, charge whatever they want whenever they park, their private jets and such. They get to do all these things. People in government actually make
a shit ton.
No. It's not like small, like in America. In America in particular, you will see people, in government, they're not on high income producing jobs, but they get their money from the lobbyists.
Yeah.
Here in Australia,
we have stricter lobbying rules. We do. We still have it though, of course.
But
hence the gambling.
They comp everything. They literally comp everything onto the government. So their salary is their salary, but their travel costs everything. No, that's a government expense. I have to drive to Canberra. No, that's going to cost me $200. You owe me $200 for that.
Yeah.
One more item. So they're so worried about, we got to raise taxes in certain parts and we've got to make sure people have more money. Yeah. They just signed a 40-year. They signed it up until 2070. They signed a 40-year gas contract with Woodside Gas, a new one, where this company paid 0.015% of their profit in taxes.
Oh, yeah.
Punters Politics is going to love the fact that I'm talking about this. One of the pages on Instagram.
Right.
He actually brought a lot of attention to Australia's national resources being exported and then resold to us.
Oh, yeah. Gas is the prime example.
Gas is the prime example. So they signed a contract. It was a new contract for a new gas pipeline. So an external market could pay less tax for our resources.
I know.
I understand global economics. I understand that there are some dangerous people in this world that will do some dangerous things to make sure that they can acquire natural resources like this. And there's episodes of Suits. There's episodes of Billions. These people aren't caricatures. These people exist, okay?
Yeah.
But the world is pretty effed up.
Yeah,
I'm
it's not a nice place generally.
But why are we so willing to punish Australian people and sign these new contracts at the same time to these multinational corporations that won't pay us?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree entirely. I think because a lot of the argument is budget repair, paying for things like Medicare and all those kinds of things, which is all true. The money will go towards that, but like you said, a really easy way to get that money would be to actually tax multinational corporations effectively.
Yep.
I agree completely.
Yep.
And neither Centre Party, Liberal or Labor, are willing to touch that.
Yep.
And that's a damn shame.
There's probably some things that are occurring within, on a federal level that you and I will never get visibility of or transparency of.
Well,
Okay?
what was that? It's like the John Barilaro and Gladys, as soon as their political careers were over, all of a sudden they've got jobs at these big multinational corporations.
Why?
Yeah, it's lobbying.
Yeah. So, but it might not even be lobbying. It might be external security threats or something.
Whatever the case is, they have a relationship with these large companies.
Yep.
That was it should go straight in to. Oh, I'm finished my mostly successful political careers.
Yep.
Granted, both ended in scandal, but regardless, they got jobs.
Yeah. And now,
Well-paying jobs.
correct. And now they're allowed to, but mind you, they still get the government pension, which has increased in value too.
Do they really?
Yes.
I suppose they would, because you're not in politics for your whole life. Yeah. No.
So they get the government pension, they get the tax benefits as well. And then we also disregard the fact that a lot of our money went to these multinational corporations.
Yeah.
This is what I hate. This is what I hate. You have optional choices for who you're protecting in Australia. Oh no, you know what? We're not going to protect the people that have done their hardest to build their money through property in Australia. We're not going. We're not.
Yeah, we're touch of the world.
We're not going to touch them. So we're going to go after them, but we're not going to go after these MNCs. Oh, so you hear the Greens all the time, and yes, they are very hypocritical in a lot of the stuff that they say, and I don't think they have a single economic policy that wasn't written in crayon. But
God, it was funny watching them get smashed in the last election. God, it was funny.
it was great. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna let him sit.
Sorry, because Adam Bant losing his Melbourne seat, fucking hilarious. The arrogance that they were like, yeah, we're gonna do so great in this election. We're gonna do this, that, and the other, and just to get fucking the floor wiped with them, hilarious.
They didn't get a single seat. You hear this. You hear people advocating. You want to see them. Oh no, it should be a fairer country. It should be a fairer economy. This is how you make it fairer. And we're going to finish off the episode with this.
Yeah.
Fix the fucking inefficiencies in local councils. Okay? Make it fairer that way. Because then it won't be driving prices up so high.
Building approvals will actually just go through.
And mind you, there is an inquiry. There's an inquiry happening right now, a Senate inquiry as to why 4 councils in Australia have extreme delays in approving new dwellings. So that's the first one. Okay? Not in Australia, in local councils around here. I think it's the Sydney CBD, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah.
They're doing an inquiry right now as we speak. Number 2, if you are going to... am I on number 3?
I think you're on number 3. Is he on number 3?
No, I'm on number 2. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Inefficiencies.
I'm going crazy.
Number 2, if you're going to keep migration up this high, bring in individuals for skills that we don't have. Advertise for fucking Sparkies somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
Why is the electrician down the road making $500,000 a year? Okay, and they're doing it through TAFE. Don't get me wrong. I love my electricians, but the lawyers in town, are earning a quarter of that. Why? Why is that possible? And then sorry, I'm on my fucking government rant right now, and I'm so fucking pissed off about this. Okay, here's a perfect example. You're a female, okay? You are going to go into a female-dominated industry, just as statistics show. You've got HR as an industry, okay? HR is dominated 78% by females,
women,
okay? Just these are statistics. You want to fucking cancel me, go fuck yourselves, all right? These are statistics. In Sydney and Melbourne, okay? In Sydney and Melbourne, to get into the HR industry, you need to complete 4 years of uni plus a couple sets of qualifications, right? There's a chance you might need a second major in psychology just so you can understand the human behavior, whatever it is. Entry-level jobs are around $80,000. So you've got a $60,000 HECS debt, okay? You can't afford property in Sydney or Melbourne. Perfect. You can't afford property there. And then you have people online saying just fucking move regional. In Sydney and Melbourne,
There's no work there.
no, wait. Sydney and Melbourne, there was 2,000 job openings in HR or, not allied industry, it's similar roles, okay? Some sort of HR role.
Yeah.
2,000 job openings in the year.
Uh-huh.
In Gosford, in Bathurst, and Mildura, there were 7.
So out of the 2,000 jobs, 7 were in the regional
No.
hubs.
2,000 was Sydney and Melbourne.
Yeah.
In the regional CBDs, there was 7. So you might be able to afford on your $80,000 a year salary to move to Mildura, but you won't be able to find the job.
Yeah, that's the big issue, isn't it? That's been the issue for the whole time.
But electricians will be able to make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
So if people want to get up in arms or something, this is what you can get up in arms about. Because yes, you might be able to go move regional and you might be able to afford a property there, but you might not be able to find work.
Yeah.
And we are heavily skewing the dependence on trades, and we're not bringing them in. We're not investing in it. We're telling people go to university, build up your HECS debt. For what? So you could pray the government gives you a 20% off? So you could pray for that?
No, look, we've had this issue for a while now, where it comes to skilled labor is what we're talking about. We have a lack of it, and TAFE is free or at least in New South Wales. I'm sure it's free in Australia, but I know it is free in New South Wales. And that's not really driving people to go towards it. It's not really the cost of schooling that's stopping people from joining the trades. So what is it? Because we also know, like, I have a lot of my mates are tradies, and they make great money. Everyone I know who's a tradie makes great money, especially if they own their own business, of course.
Yep.
So how do we make these jobs more attractive? And like, I don't have an answer. Maybe TAFE needs they need a rebrand, need some marketing. Hit us up.
I just think to myself that we, as a country, if we're going to bring in skilled migrants, bring in the skills that we actually need.
Yeah.
But that's something we have a huge demand for.
Fewer engineers and IT peoples.
Last point. Stop punishing the everyday Australian for rules that you created, okay? For rules that you created, and letting multinational corporations gouge our natural resources and then sell it back to us for high amounts of money. The inflation is, I said it earlier, $50,000 in 2020 is the equivalent of $41,000 or something because
Just
of
roundabout.
inflation. Roundabout numbers. That is huge, and it doesn't include it. That's just how much money is. It doesn't include everything around it. It doesn't include housing going. There's so many things that are involved. Yeah. So please, for the love of God, okay, don't tax Australians more and then give handouts to multinational corporations owned by private equity firms in America because they gave you some money for your campaign.
Basically, what we're saying is
don't lie to us.
Tax the multinationals.
Yeah. Tax the
multinationals fairly. It's just simple as that.
Last point, if you're going to introduce a new tax, don't leave yourself exempt from it. Take some fucking accountability for yourself. Take some fucking accountability and say, hey, guess what? I'm implementing this new tax. I'm taxing myself.
Yeah.
Don't sit there and sugarcoat it and say, oh no, we're Australian federal government. We have the same, qualifications as the Australian Defence Force. No, you don't. I saw a video the other day. The guy copies speeches from Michael Bay for fucking Wall Street or whatever that movie was called. I can't remember his bloody name.
Michael Sheen. Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas. There is a full video of word for word.
Oh, the greed is good speech.
Albo copies his speech word for word, and that guy is getting 15% more in his super than you will indexed in 30 years. Why? Because he's in power.
Basically, hold politicians accountable and be angry about it, and don't draw political lines where your biases lie either, because they're not exempt.
You know what? That was a really good summary.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. I think he just saved my ass a little bit, didn't he? And if you're interested in investing in your super.
And with that, we shall leave you.
Obviously, this was a heated episode for me. And I am passionate about giving individuals the opportunity to better themselves. I never like it when there is obvious favoritism or corruption shown by people in power.
Just general inequality. Yeah.
Yeah. It is because we make rules, we get to do it is not fair. And I cannot wait to see what is actually proposed in this bill and how they're going to implement it. Because I highlighted it earlier. You are going to have people who have money in their super fund who invested strategically, thought intelligently, trusted advisors that might be hit with a new tax bill of 150 grand, 200 grand that they have to pay right now. Anyways, thank you all for listening. Sorry for yelling. And catch us on the next episode of The Finance Show with Joe.